coffee. Uh, I'm still drinking mine, so we'll see how this goes. Uh, I hope you're here for the Evergreen UI training. It is scheduled for 2 hours. Yesterday took just about an hour. I would expect it would be the same unless we have a lot more questions than we had yesterday, which either people were overwhelmed or the training accomplished its purpose because there weren't a whole lot of questions yesterday. So this training is primarily for those folks who are in APS, either as a guardian rep or a investigator, and the supervisors. Do we have anybody here that is not in those roles? I'm hearing silence and not seeing anything in the chat. If you have any questions uh, to begin with, go ahead and put them in the Q&A, and Leslie will be monitoring that, making sure that we do get to make sure that we answer them before the time is up. So we're going to begin. We're going to give Tim just a moment to join in. He just signed it. So, welcome. We're going to skip that. So the agenda, we've already done the welcome more or less. The overview, we're going to be looking at release 3, the user interface highlights, which they're going to be more visual and the way things look for those folks who've been using Evergreen right along. Remember, release 3 is where we have a lot more people that are joining us in Evergreen. All of the community case managers, brain injury folk, waiver folk, all those folk are going to be in there. And this is essentially built to accommodate them and their needs. But in the process of it, that we have developed a they have developed a new user interface, which is much more user friendly, easier around the eyes, and has a couple of enhancements. And we'll try to make sure that we cover those in detail. You should have gotten an email yesterday, I believe, from Doreen announcing that this release is coming up soon, and that you will be let know before that actually occurs. So we'll look at what the difference is between what you're currently using today and what you're going to be using when the release comes out. One of the things you're going to notice right off is that some of the menus have changed and the locations may have changed. I'm going to say this several times throughout the training. Every piece of functionality that you had yesterday, you will have when this is released. You will still be able to do all the things that you've done before. Almost everything will be essentially the same. Just may look a little different and might be in a slightly different location. You will have some increased ability, particularly as Guardian reps, to see information that you used to access in EIS, and we'll cover that when we get there. So it is an enhancement for us, even though most of what you're going to see is cosmetic. There's some additional person functionality, and you're going to have a new page that you arrive on called your dashboard. And that's probably going to be the biggest single change that you're going to notice when you get there. And then we'll talk about what happens next. All right. So just a reminder, I know you know this, Adult Protective Services is the report side of Evergreen. That is not changing. The access to it is not changing. It is still solely for APS individuals. Even though the case managers are coming on board, they will not have access to it. It's on the person, what we used to call the person side or the person profile, now going to be called the person folder, where the biggest changes are going to occur. And that's where those folks are going to reside and spend most of their life. Your guardianship form still will be confidential, and nobody will have access to that other than APS folk. Okay, you will have access to some of their work, but they're not going to have access to yours. So be aware that we're now calling that side of Evergreen the person folder. So the system toolbar, the navigation header is reorganized. It is going to be a little bit condensed, still going to have anything, but there's going to be some additional things that are on there. The user and the person dashboards, you're going to see some enhancements there. My notes, which are like sticky notes, you'll see those in a few minutes. The message center, which sort of think of that sort of as Outlook only for Evergreen users. You will have the ability to open up emails or to send emails from about any page, wherever you are in Evergreen, without having to exit the program. This will only connect with folks that are users of Evergreen, that are logged into Evergreen. It will not communicate with people outside of that system, but it provides you the ability to take care of details that at one time you would have to exit the program and go into Outlook to do. You can now do that directly from Outlook. And there's also note functions. We'll talk about that. And as far as the additional person record functionality, you're going to be able to see, and I learned this yesterday. See, I'm still learning as well. Uh, there will be the ability to view like important information about the person by hitting what is called a shade. It will just automatically pull down. You won't have to get out and go into the profile to see what's going on to get that information anymore. It will be available to you. Same way with the view profile button and the view summary. And there's going to be some change, no change for us as far as print documents. We'll cover that, but that is primarily for the new users. So what remains the same? You're still going to log in. There's going to be an additional screen there. I will show you that in just a minute. The Evergreen is going to continue to work the same. Navigation will still be the same, going through it. Highlighting, opening the file, those sorts of things aren't changing. The access to APS reports in the person folder going to be the same. Appointments, forms and letters, all that. And the APS definitions in Ghost Text, you'll see that in a minute. That's sort of that shade I was talking about. Still going to have those reminders from Evergreen that information needs to be entered before you can save something, or if you're working either in the structured decision-making intake side or the structured decision-making safety assessment, you're still going to have the little orange circles that tell you all the information that hasn't been entered to move on, and that will turn to green. And if you highlight over it, it will tell you what information is missing. We'll show that to you. So the login will be the same. And just a reminder, again, I will say this several times during the training, what you see will be defined by the role that you have. That is not changing. Some of the screens you won't be seeing exactly the same because you may be a guardian rep or a investigator as opposed to a supervisor or a program manager. So some of those access to screens and information is still going to be role dependent. But when you sign into the Evergreen, after you've logged in, you're going to see this screen on the right. It is there just to remind you that you are now in accessing confidential information, and that is stuff that cannot be shared. And it's just sort of making sure that you acknowledge that and certifying that you're aware that you are dealing with confidential, protected health information and APS confidential information. For most of you, you probably will not see this, but for those of you who have the ability to cover for other staff, or if you're a program manager, the next screen is going to remain the same. You're going to have to choose where you are, what location, and what staff member you're covering, or choose yourself. That screen's not changing. It's still going to be there. So let's take a look at the home page. This is what it looks like. That's what it looked like in the past at the top. This is what it's going to look like at the bottom. Okay. Just a little bit. All the items that are on that top toolbar, that navigation menu, are going to be there. They're going to be in a slightly different order and in slightly different places. Notice that the search function has automatically loads. You don't have to hit search in order to search a person or to search for a report. It's going to be right there next to the Evergreen icon. Next to it, unlike in the search function now, because you're not opening search, if you want to see your prior history of searches, that is going to be the button right next to the search person dialog box. Okay. By clicking that, you will see your previous searches. So just like you used to in the past. The one thing that's going to be different is this little icon here. Okay. And that icon is the note function. And we'll get to that in a minute. but notice that everything else is pretty much the same. Down below is where the major change is going to be that you will immediately notice. You're going to have what are called tiles. And this is a completely user adjustable interface, with the exception of this upper left-hand corner. This is the announcement tile. That can't be moved and it can't be closed. This is where important information about the system or other things that have come through FEI are going to be listed. All the rest of these tiles, you're going to be able to move and adjust whether you want them open or not. And we'll be looking at that in just a second. The top bar, what I used to refer to as the where the heck am I bar, is not really changing. The evergreen icon will always take you back to your home page, and it will always be there no matter where you are in Evergreen. You can access any of the functions in that top toolbar at any time. These tiles, as I said, can be dragged or opened. If you click on, and I'm going to go back to the prior one for just a second, notice this button in the upper right, right below the menu bar. If you click on that, the Manage Dashboard, this dialog box will open. It gives you the different tiles that are available to you, and you can uncheck them or check them depending on whether you want them open or not. And then you can drag these to wherever you want them on the screen. So it is very user friendly. So there's the announcements. And this is where you'll be notified if Evergreen's going to be down, if there's system maintenance going on, if there's other announcements that you will find those there. The caseload is not a function that will be available to you right now. This caseload function is a part of a requirement that is necessary for the community case manager. So this caseload button, this really isn't going to apply to you, but this is what they would see. Tasks are sort of like tasks in Outlook, with one exception, really. You can create tasks for any case and give yourself a deadline. They can also be created by your supervisor, and you will see them as well. And they will appear here. If they're track tasks, they're created by somebody else. But whenever you click on that item, it will take you to your person folder so you can address whatever that task is. So it's immediate navigation. You don't have to go out of here and go back into your queue to find your caseload to go to that particular case. The message inbox, that is sort of like the Outlook function we talked about. You can send and receive messages to other users in the system. So it's not for communicating with anybody who does not have access to Evergreen. How are we doing? See something in
Doing
the
great.
chat?
No,
Okay.
nothing yet.
All right. So, and we'll be looking at that, and we're going to go into Evergreen Live in just a second. My notes, these are like sticky notes. And those are ways to just record information, again, without having to exit the program to go into Word or something else. You can just save it right there, enter in a phone number you've got to return. You've got a call on another case while you're working in case A, you get a call on case B. You can just record a little information there, and then you can cut and paste it and put it in somewhere else if you need to. But it's just another enhancement to be able to work more effectively. So I'm going to stop the share. And let's take a look at what we're talking about. Give me just a second, because as always, it never is as easy as it should be. All right. All right. There we go. I think we're there. It is still not showing up. All right, give me just a second. I apologize. It is what it is.
I think we've got you now.
What's that?
I think we've got you now.
All right, are you seeing my dashboard?
Yes.
Cool, we're there. So when you sign in, this is what it's going to look like. And as I said before, if by clicking on the Manage Dashboard, any of these that you're not using or you just want to hide, you can unclick and they will disappear. Okay, click them, they reappear. All right, and they can be dragged anywhere you want to put them. So if you want your My Notes function over here and that below it, however you want to deal with it, all right? Notice the Evergreen is going to be right there. That title bar is not going away at any point. And it's going to contain essentially the same information you have, maybe in slightly different order. Anywhere you go in Evergreen, there is going to be this add a note. So you can, your little post-it note's going to pop up. And it will pop up as a new note, and you can just click the view all notes and it will take you to that page. And I will show you that again. Your message inbox is going to be very much like Evergreen. I mean, like Outlook. Open it up. You'll have the ability to search through Evergreen users to send it to who you want. There's the subject matter and the whole bit right there. You'll be able to send that off directly from within the program without having to access it. And when you open them up, such as this one, when I open the message center, same sort of thing. I can reply all, delete, archive, the whole 9 yards. All right. My tasks, if I were to double click in here, notice it takes me immediately to the case. So I can address the task right there. And there's the task. And we'll go into the person record in a little bit. But you don't have to exit your home screen to address any of these tasks. You can just click on it, it will immediately take you to your task. And again, you can create your own tasks to have here, or your supervisor can also create them as well. So it should look fairly familiar. Stop the share, we'll go back to the PowerPoint. All right, so moving on. So let's compare old to new, all right? Navigation is aligned to the dashboard. It's always visible at the top of your screen and it provides easy access to information. And when we get into the person record, you're going to find that that header bar is going to contain way more information than was in the original sort of header bar in the person folder in Evergreen currently. Search is still going to be the same. Again, dependent on your role, most of you are only going to be able to search for person or APS report. Still going to have the advanced search for person. And if you want to see the history, you just got to click this back button, the counterclockwise button. Will show you the history of all your recent searches. Still, functionality is going to remain the same. You can search just as you can now by person or report number. Using the advanced search, you can search by more. The returns are all going to be in table format. All of those tables are sortable. So there's no functionality that's being changed. It's just going to look a little. Okay. Action buttons have moved a little bit. All right. So, but other than that, they remain the same. Instead of having the folder and the person's name down here, instead of having the search button down here with either the person icon or the folder icon, it's going to be up here right next to the Evergreen icon itself. You have the ability to add a new person, add APS report, whether it's a progress note or an APS progress note, that functionality is going to remain the same. There's really no difference. What you will notice is that menus have changed. Okay, whereas I know it's a little small, a little hard for me to see because I'm old, but up here we're in the into a report, and we have the main navigation menu and the sub menu right here at the top. That is being moved to the left-hand side. Okay, and you're not only going to have the name, there's going to be an icon for all of those. And when you click on that, the submenu is going to appear to the right of it. And then the navigation menu, which I'll show you in a minute, is going to appear way to the right in some cases. But it works exactly the same. Notice up here, we're in an intake. It shows the intake's not completed. You have the orange circle. Same thing down here. Intake, orange circle. You hover over it. It's going to tell you what information needs to be added to it. That functionality is not changing. It looks different. It acts the same. Okay. As I said, sometimes the navigation menu is going to be over here. If you're in the person summary, instead of that appearing to the immediate to the right, it's going to appear way to the right. Okay, and you actually have the ability to toggle that on and off. Some folks tend to just want to scroll down until they find what they want. Other people want the submenu and they can click onto exactly where they want to go. You have the ability to do either. You can close this by clicking this little button right here, and I'll show that to you when we go live. To give you some more screen real estate, or you can open it up if that's the way you prefer to navigate. Again, the same functionality, just looks like. Profile categories, again, same way. You can toggle to open. You have access to the same information going down through, which, with one exception, we get to. Okay. So let's go back and take a look at what that looks like in real life when you're trying to do this. Okay, there we go. So let's go to a person. Search history. So on the person side, the menus really haven't changed. They're there. But as far as navigation is concerned, going to be a little bit different. That white bar, the navigation menu at the top, is not going anywhere. Notice when we open it up, if we have a picture uploaded, it will have the picture of Mary. But there's a little more information and it's right there for individuals. And right from the screen, you can add an activity, you can view the summary. Okay, which gives you a lot of information regarding the person. Click it again, it goes away. You can view the profile right here. Again, these are those shades I was talking about. They just lower down. You can access some stuff that you need, but make it go away very easily. So if we go to the person summary, all right, this little button to the right, if I want to navigate by using the submenu, I click it, open it up, and I can click down through it, go anywhere I want. Instead of having the, yeah, stuff. Okay, there's personal information, health information. And again, if you click this open as you go down through here, it will remain open for, all right. And notice that I have to scroll because I have more icons and I have screen real estate. But all this is going to remain pretty much the same. You can add appointments, any of this. Here's something that's interesting, which I only discovered yesterday. So under forms, uh, notice that there's way more forms. See this kind of upside down pyramid? If you click on that, it will give you all the forms that are available. You're going to be concerned primarily with conservator and guardianship forms, but many of these that are here are going to be available to you. So directly from Evergreen, you may be able to access a person-centered plan. You may be able to access waiver stats, assessments that have been done. All of that is the stuff that you used to have to go into EIS for, likely going to be here and way more information. You will also be able to access at least some of the progress notes, maybe not all, but some of them. Okay, so you can have access to way more information. But let's go down and take a look at the guardianship conservatorship form. And again, looks different, acts the same. There's the tabs, which are going to match what you currently have. And then under each one, you have the ability to, instead of having sort of a submenu, like you have the budget summary, you're going to have that caret, open it up, it will give you the budget summary. It'll give you the asset summary. Then you can go to budget itself. And currently there's not a budget. We're in test environment. So same way, petition going to be available. And there, again, instead of having to scroll down through, you can open up what you're looking for, the petition information, any hearings, disposition, appointments, the
And
same
David,
information.
you can use that expand all little icon right at the top there too, and it will expand all the sections at the same time. So you don't have to do them one at a time if that's your preference as
If
well.
that's your preference. Yeah, it's very user friendly. You can view this any way you want. So, yeah. So all these are going to remain pretty much the same. With the addition, we don't currently have the tasks here, but here we have, you can add tasks to that person's profile as well, that person's folder. Does that make sense at this point in time?
You'll just want to make sure that as guardianship representatives, that if you're adding tasks here, those tasks are viewable by all of the people that have access to that person record. So you'll just want to make sure that you don't put anything in the tasks that you wouldn't want like an assigned community case manager to see, or a provider who might have access to the person record.
And that's important because some of the changes will change the way that you're not losing anything. Like if you put in an APS alert or an APS additional details, that's only going to be available to APS people. But tasks is a new function, and that's going to be available to be viewed by all. So just be aware of that. Yeah. Okay. Back here, and stop the share.
No questions yet, David. We did just get some positive feedback. Steve's excited about it, and so are we.
Yeah. Well, we're either doing an amazing job or they're still asleep. I'm going to go with number one for right now.
I
All
think
right.
it's a combination, probably, David.
So the person record ribbon. There are those new tools which I showed you, the add activity, the view summary, and the print documents. Okay. And those are going to be right at the top along with the person information. From the activity, you can add a new note, a new appointment, a new message, or a new attachment. And to be clear, the new note will not be a guardianship conservatorship note. It will be on the person record. So be aware of that. You have to be in the form to add a note that will only be available to APS people. Okay. So your guardianship conservatorship notes are going to remain the same. Adding a new note here would be adding it to the person record, and it would be available to anybody who has access to that person. Okay. You can send a new message, a new email, and you can add an attachment right here from the person dashboard. To be clear, upper left, we are in the person record. So when you add that new attachment, it's going to be to this person. So you know, it's important to note where you are when you engage in some of these activities because they're going to be person specific. And like I said, there's a message function and the view summary. You saw that it gives you all of these. Excuse me. They're going to give you all of these items that which you generally would have to go into the folder to find to open them up individually. But it'll give you a summary that you can see regarding diagnosis, medications, allergies. For those of you who are covering for workers who may be on vacation or out of the office, great place to go. If somebody calls up for consent to treat, you can hit this. You're going to get all the diagnoses, the warnings as far as yeah, allergies, those sorts of things are going to immediately pop up. Okay. Print documents is not a function that is going to be used for you. This is this particular rollout is, as I said before, was to accommodate the new case managers, and there's things that they need to do in order to meet legal standards for the work that they do, and that print function is going to accommodate that. Exploration and discovery is something that they're required to do, as is the service utilization report. Exploration, like I said, a particular part of their job, they have to do this and they have to print this summary out for IDDD folk. Service utilization reports, sort of like looking at the PARFs, prior authorization forms. If they have 100 units of physical therapy that have been authorized, this will tell you how many have been used, which gives you how many are left. It's important information for them, but probably not something you're going to be using, at least at this point. And then that profile, as I showed you, you can click that and it will immediately give you some of the important information. If you're messing around in Ruby's folder and you suddenly realize you get a caller, there's her phone number, there's her address. It will give you our preferred name, that sort of thing. Right. We kind of looked at that. All right, new dashboard features. So the caseload tile accesses the person dashboard. We're not using the caseload at this point in time. This is for the community case managers. Maybe at some point, but at this point, just kind of ignore this. Know that it's there. If you're wondering why you have access to the tile, it's for other users. It's not for us right now. So in the person dashboard, you do have the ability to add tasks from the record folder, or you can add it from the landing page, your home screen. And that's what that will look like. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. And all that's needed to mark it complete is to click the little box in the upper left-hand corner of that particular task. If it is a task that is being tracked, meaning it's been assigned to you by a supervisor or somebody else, when you click that, they will get notification that you have marked that task as complete. Again, you have the ability to send messages. I think this is one of the better enhancements. There's a number of them here, but this is one of those. If you're in the case and you suddenly realize that there was something that your supervisor forgot to do, you can send them an email, right from there without having to exit from there. And there's your message center. The downside of this, you're going to have to maintain it. It'll get very big if you don't delete the ones you're done with, but it's no different than Outlook. So my notes, again, no more than a sticky note. And you can add it just to keep information for a brief period of time so that you don't have to exit whatever you're doing in order to record it. And you can access that from anywhere in Evergreen because it's going to be right up here next to the search button. So, stop sharing.
Got a couple of good questions in the Q&A, David. I'll just mention them here for for everybody, Marcus had asked about the progress notes and who could see what progress notes, and I did clarify in the Q&A that guardian reps will continue to enter their notes against their guardianship form, and those will remain private from the other new users that are coming into the system. Same thing with APS notes. Those will continue to be added against the APS report and will be private from the new users coming to the system. However, guardianship representatives will be able to see the progress notes that are entered on the person record by the new user. So you'll be able to see the general notes, the crisis notes on that person record, but they will not be able to see yours.
Yeah, and like I said, it really is a great enhancement for the guardian reps, because you are
Yeah.
going to see crisis notes, crisis plans,
Yeah.
stuff from the community case managers,
Makes
notes
it
like that immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another question from Nicole about where they'll continue to see their client list since they won't be using the caseload list. So just as a reminder, you'll continue to use your queries. All of your existing queries will remain available to you and you'll use those. And any reports that you might have had access to will also still remain available to you and you'd use those as well. And reports is probably hidden in yours under the ellipses, David, just because you're logged in as the administrator. So you've got a lot of icons there.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, same way, just hit queries, you'll click your caseload, and if you have a caseload, it will show up. I don't. So, yeah, as you're aware, there are three types, or at least three types of progress notes in Evergreen. There are APS progress notes, only seen by APS folk. There are the person progress notes, as you see right here on the primary page, the person profile page. And those are community case managers. Other folks have access to that. For you, your notes are going to be down under forms.
Another really great question just came in from Marcus. So I'll just answer it live right here for everybody. For guardian reps, he's asking, will they have to have like different logins in order to see the DS person records, the DS cases, or will they just merge right into your current access? They will just merge right into your current access. So you will not need to have a separate login. You'll just continue to log in with your same credentials. And after the deploy, you'll just see more content against those person record cases, and any person records that are not under public guardianship conservatorship, but that reside in EIS right now, those will migrate in, and then you'll likely, as state employees and APS employees, you'll find those other person records in your search now.
And a quick question, which I'm not aware of, maybe, is MAPSIS now finally going away, or is Drombo going to continue to use it after this deploy?
MAPSIS will stay in its current capacity. Yeah, they'll continue to do the accounting pieces over there. Hopefully in the next project, we'll be able to pull all of the MAPSIS functionality in. But for right now, the same MAPSIS functionality that exists will remain after this deploy.
So we will still have to authorize regional operations access in the form itself. So that
yeah.
Cool.
And then Carla also asked, will supervisors who carry cases now be able to pull up a caseload rather than doing an individual search for the cases? However, you're currently doing that, Carla, you'll continue to have to do that after this release. But hopefully in a future enhancement, we can make that a little bit easier for you guys. And Marcus asks, will deceased clients finally go out of the current caseloads? I think that
business practices are not changing. So
yeah, I think that must be an issue that we're experiencing because the case is not being unassigned at the right time, Marcus. So that issue will not go away. I think it's just a business process item that we need to work through together.
Yeah, that is a business process, and that will be something will have to be worked out between APS and Drombo and the state management and all.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what was, okay, so again, those are the 4 additions up here, the add activity, you've seen what that looks like, the view summary. And you can view the profile all right from here. Going back to the your home screen, again, one of the things that is going to be easier is if you have a task that you need to do, you don't need to go into the case to do that. You can double click here and it will immediately take you to that person and you'll be able to do the task right there. So it is accomplishing a lot as far as making it a little bit simpler to navigate in some cases. And I think we have looked at everything on those screens. And are there anything you have questions on either the report side or the person folder side?
I'm not seeing anything in the Q&A.
Okay. Stop the share. All right. So what's next? Watch for emails. You are going to get notes when it's going to be deployed. It is not far off. So just be aware that this is going to be rolled out before, likely before the stuff in your refrigerator gets moldy. Okay, it's not going to be all that long. So watch for that. All of everything that you currently have, you will continue to have. Nothing is being taken away. It's only being added to as far as your ability to see things, the ease of navigation, and a few additional tools, which I believe we will find very useful to you. Most important thing to remember is you got this. We've had Evergreen now since May of 2019. And as I said to the group yesterday, there are things that go wrong. We keep running into stuff. I'm aware of that, and we're trying to address that as we can because there are those things you don't find out don't work until you have that strange situation when it happens. But I get almost no calls regarding Evergreen now. You got this. You've learned this very quickly. Within 6 months, I was getting almost no calls, asking, how do I do this? I've forgotten. This is going to be as easy or easier than that deployment because all the functionality remains the same. You just might have to take a second or so for the first couple of weeks to remember where it is as far as I got to look on the left, not the top. Trust yourself. You've got this. It's really going to be very simple. And if you do have any problems, we're not going away. So please let us know. If it is a programming problem, if there's something wrong with the program itself, that's going to be FEI. If we need profiles set up, if there's information that is not flowing the way that it should, that send it to the Evergreen Help Desk. If you've just forgotten something or you have a question, feel free to let me know. Okay. For a while going forward, I still will be assisting on the help in desk, so you'll get me anyway for some of these things. So, but if you have any questions at all, I think you're going to find it easy to adjust to, and really, hopefully, it's going to make your work simple.
Yeah, especially since you won't have to log into EIS anymore. Everything will be in the same system for you. So that will be the best piece, I think. But yeah, just continue to use that Evergreen support email address or the FEI help desk for the challenges that you're facing. As David mentioned, I did enlist him to help me out with that a little bit post deploy because we'll have all these new developmental services and brain injury folks in the system that I'm going to have to myself and the team will have to support because it will be all new to them, brand new system to them. So we're going to give them a different email address to send their support questions to so that we can keep you guys in a separate, in your current support email box and be able to respond to you in a more timely fashion.
So you're not losing anything, you're gaining a few things. And for you Guardian reps, there'll be one less password you have to remember going forward. It's just a price.
Yay.
Worth the price of admission on its own. All right. So I promised you an hour. We did this in 46 minutes.
We crushed it today.
Yeah. I don't think we missed anything.
I don't think we did either. We did great. It was succinct today, David. You were on it. We knew exactly what we needed to share.
Yeah,
We got
the
the kinks
driver,
out yesterday, everybody.
yeah, the experimental group helped that. So thank you all again. We'll be around if you have any questions, and look for this to be deployed soon.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Everybody have a great Friday and a great weekend.